What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices, going over to scoresandodds.com and get signed up where you got picks from me, Meansy, Dino, all the greats, plus you get access to this nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we project for each individual prop, plus where the best line is at, and most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? Well, it's where I throw in all my picks each and every day. Got tons of them for baseball today, tons of them for football. Go, get signed up. Joined today by a guy, Daniel. How you doing?
I feel like I'm listening to a podcast on like 1.5x. Like, why? It's not on. I'm listening to it live. But that was you really flew through that there. But I'm doing all right. It's Friday. Looking forward to some more football this weekend. Yeah, dude. It's with the dog days of baseball, we're still grinding out some baseball. About 3 weeks left or so, and then basketball's just about a month away. The 19th, I believe, of next month is when it starts with a 2-gamer. I already took a peek ahead, but hey, man, this is the time, man. This is when we start getting into all the fun sports, basketball and football. Baseball's fun too, but it's month 6.
Yeah. I didn't realize any posts. So the Twitter link didn't work. That. You'll enjoy what I'm saying here. Talk while I can't multitask.
Oh, I don't know just tell me to fill some time. I by all means, I could stretch at any given moment. But I know you're going to be talking about one of the fancy new tools here at RG and for how to make parlays. People love making their parlays. And I think I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I think it's focused mostly on single game parlays. Just the best way to get the best value and like the best lines and all that good stuff as far as single game parlays. And I'm curious how that tool works. I saw Dan Bach tweeted it out yesterday. I know a lot of people behind the scenes are super excited about it. Did I buy enough time for you, Grant? You ready to take over?
Yep. I have in fact tweeted out what I was supposed to tweet out. But yeah, dude, I'm crushing it right now.
You've 11 winning days in a row, according to your tweet. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I have not lost money since September 1st.
Since I left, basically.
Yeah. Correlation, causation, I don't know which. But yeah, we're up 10.5 G's off of 37K bet. So right around a 30% ROI, even from a rough day where we only won 200 yesterday.
How's that broken down by sport? Did you crush week 1 in the NFL or just by baseball, football? It's all going good for you.
Football has been good. Like football, let's see, on Sunday, 30% ROI, crushed on Monday, did well on football yesterday, didn't do as well on baseball. So yeah, both of them have been sitting right around the same ROI. It's been just unreal good so far. But yeah, we got stuff. Yeah, yesterday.
As a viewer, I don't care how you did yesterday. I want some winners today. For me, you're 0-0. I need some winners today. What do you got for me?
A lot. We'll just get into baseball real quick. We'll go through it real quick because we're going to be, like Dean said, we're going to be going over the plate IQ or parlay IQ stuff. So I got a lot of them. Adrian Hauser over 3.5 strikeouts, getting plus 118 over at Superbook. I wanted more on it, so I also hit it at plus 108 over at Bet Rivers. Adrian Hauser, not a huge strikeout guy, but he should be stretched out, should get close to 100 pitches in this spot here going up against the Yankees. While the top half of the lineup is tough, they are still a high strikeout lineup at the top, and the bottom half is just one of the worst in all of baseball. Just absolutely dreadful bottom half of the lineup. Current projected lineup is sitting at a 297 WOBA, 165 ISO, and just a 23% K rate going up against righties. Hauser, not particularly a high strikeout pitcher, but I like that. Don't care about Dean's thoughts on it. Think he's going to go late into the game, so hitting the over 4.5 hits. You can get that minus 115 over at DraftKings. Mad Bum, minus 130 to go over 5.5 hits over at DK. Generally, they give him a long enough leash. He's going up against the Padres. Padres are a good team. Bumgarner is not a good pitcher anymore. Who do you think's older, me or Bumgarner?
Well, it's funny because I think Madison Bumgarner is sneaky young. Well, he's not young, but I think he's only like 31 or 32, which I feel like in my head I used to be 34 or 35, but I'm fairly certain he's 31. Is that correct?
He is 32.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is not as old as I thought he was.
He's sneaky young. Which by the way, I got one for you too. not to derail the conversation, but this one really threw me off over the week. How old do you think Curtis Samuel is?
27.
I thought he was like 30. He's 26. Like Curtis, I feel like he's been on forever. He just turned 26 too. Like,
it's the travel bump where he's been to so many different teams, but we got to keep going through baseball and football. Gosh, I have so many gosh darn bets.
All right,
Blake Snell over 15.5 strikeouts going up against Arizona. While a lot of their numbers are actually very good going up against lefties, it doesn't really matter too much. I don't think it's big enough sample size for a lot of these guys. Stone Garrett isn't going to continue to hit 411 or have a 411 WOBA from the left side of the plate, considering that, or going up against lefties, considering he's not that good. He's good. He's not that good.
You said strikeouts, by the way. I assume you meant outs, right?
Outs, sorry. 15.5 outs. So just over 5 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all these numbers are heavily inflated. So I like it. I think he crushes them. He crushed them two starts ago, 10 strikeouts, 6 innings. So I really like this spot for him. I like those odds. Stroman over 15.5 outs going up against the Rockies. The Rockies are not a very good team on the road. 15.5 is solid. Big ground ball pitcher, should be able to cruise. Robbie Ray under 6.5 strikeouts. What are your thoughts on this one? I got it plus 100. I hit it again at plus or minus 104. I hit it again at minus 110 because
what's the number? 6.5?
6.5. So I mean, we all know that he's a very, very good pitcher. The Angels, while they're a team that we always kind of plan on targeting for strikeouts, aren't quite the same. I mean, Trout and Ohtani are still high strikeout paths, but they know how to work the count really well. And Ray struggles a bit with strikeouts. Then you got Rengifo sitting at 11%. Fletcher sitting at 3.3%.
Get Fletcher out of there.
Yeah, Fletcher wasn't in. If Fletcher's not in the lineup, that changes things drastically. But they're also going to be putting 8 righties in the lineup. Ray distinctly worse versus righties than he is versus lefties. Distinctly more wild versus righties than he is versus lefties. So 6.5, I think, is a little bit too high of a number.
What juice are you getting? Are you getting juicer now?
Plus 100, minus 104, minus 110. I hit it 3 times on 3 different sites to get more money on the line.
Yeah, I don't have a strong take on it. You know, I figure he'll get around 6 or 7. So I don't have a strong lean. I will say, like, watching the games, I watched his last start. Ohtani was just mesmerized the play. He struck him out multiple times that game, and I was curious what his career was against them. He was like 4 for 6 as far as striking him out, and the 2 times he didn't strike him out, Ohtani did get hits. Not a BBP thing, but I just remember watching the games like Ohtani wasn't close. It looked like he would have struck out in 10 pitches. Just weird to see Ohtani look so lost at the plate. Ray just had him mesmerized up there and just guessing completely wrong. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Whatever your take is, I don't have a strong take. I think it's about right, whatever the line is, and that's that.
All right, I think you'll like this line. Lucas Giolito over 5.5 strikeouts. You can get a plus 102 over at Superbook, minus 104 at Caesars. I hit both. Giolito going up against the Tigers, who are awful. They're terrible versus righties, and they're likely to have 6 lefties in there. Giolito's reverse splits 30% K rate going up against lefties, and you have a 25.6% K rate going up against righties in this lineup. Likely to be higher for the lefties going up against a reverse splits pitcher. He is going to cruise through this. Talked about it in the morning grind last night. I love the line of over 5.5, and I get that. Oh, he just keeps getting blown up. Well, guess why he gets blown up? He gets blown up because his BABIP is huge, and his home run to fly ball is sitting at 15%. Well, guess what, Detroit? What's the weather over in Detroit today?
His BABIP, by the way, I was looking at it. I have it pulled up. I was kind of digging into it, and because you talk about it, the morning grind. He's going to be a big DFS talking point on the slate tonight because Giolito has burned everybody this year multiple times, but he's cheap enough, 7-8 on DK. I know that's not this show, but his BABIP is 352, so super unlucky there. Left on base, 70%, which is a little bit unlucky. Home run to fly ball is not terribly crazy, but 15.4%. But Detroit versus righties is a thing, and something's got to give. But his ERA I think is almost 2 points higher than his Sierra.
He's distinctly, his underlying numbers are pretty close to the same as last season.
His ERA in the season is 5.18. xERA is 4.37. The Sierra is 3.78. So not 2 points, but it's drastically different. He's been unlucky. Is just a quick way of saying that. In Detroit, it's not due to unluckiness, just due to an ineptitude, I suppose we can say, against righties this year. It's just an absolute disaster. if you pull up the plate IQ tool, we don't have the official lineup, but the projected lineup is striking out 25.6% collectively versus righties this season. Only one actual guy that made contact, a decent rate, 17.9% is the lowest strikeout guy is Castro. Plenty. Carpenter is striking out a ton. The rookie Green, lot of ability, but strikes out a ton. Baez, even the power's not there this year for Baez. It's something's got to give, right? Is the thought process here? What'd you say the number was on Giolito for strikeouts? 5.5?
5.5.
Yeah, I mean, he should get more than 5.5 in theory. Yeah. What you got to? How much juice you got to lay?
Pretty much even odds.
I like that. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's my biggest bet of the day. Josiah Gray over 5.5 strikeouts going up against your Miami Marlins.
They're no longer the Marlins. We broke up many years ago, but once.
You jumped ship for Tampa Bay.
I don't have a favorite team. I'm a loner now.
You can be a Mariners fan. Want to be a Mariners fan with? No, I don't want, because then they'll lose.
You have somebody to blame when they lose.
Be an Astros fan so that they won't make the playoffs anymore.
My powers will not overcome. The Astros are too good. Gray is a weird one too, because he's given up a crazy amount of homers this year. His homer on the fly ball is almost 2.5, which is just an insane number.
So his numbers, I looked into it. His numbers for home runs, the crazy amount is going up against lefties, not righties.
And Blade.
Yeah, Blade. Yeah, which Blade may hit a blood bomb. See what I
Are we doing
there.
turd bombs, or is that retired for the year?
That's retired. Football season going on. The weather is getting colder. It's just FanDuel tightened up their odds drastically. I don't have to.
It's a bad time to do with turd bombs. Yeah.
Yeah, in the last 8 days, I think I've worked 115 hours. I've not had time for almost anything.
What'd you finish for the season? Plus what? Do you know your official number?
Plus 2.5.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Well, I'm
ahead.
fairly certain I was the guy that made FanDuel tighten their odds on home runs, because I went on that tear where 1 month I had 100% ROI, and then FanDuel tightened up all their odds. I'm like, well, now I'm stuck doing this still. Yeah. All right.
You're committed a bit, and you finished ahead. So on the entire season, well, whatever. The last month last couple weeks we're not counting, but yeah, like you said, it's cooling off. And just like at the beginning of the year, it was too cool to be in the year to be chasing home runs as well. There's that sweet spot right in the middle of the summer where it's you got a couple months where you're supposed to. That's where you smash those homer props. Yeah, I wasn't sure what Bodega is today. Is Bodega appealing at all? He's been bad for what it's worth. He's not been.
He's had a rough outing after starting off fairly hot. I think I had Blade as a turd bomb twice, or 4 times, and it hit twice.
Yeah.
Blade plus 420. Yeah, that's. Look at these odds just aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
You used to see FanDuel on all these, and they used to be 100, 200 points higher. And they just finally figured it out. I mean, it's kind of what you do in sports betting. You're always finding a new edge. Always finding a new edge pretty much all the time. But I'm not going to go too extensively into these because I want to show off plate IQ. I hit these earlier on the week. Jameis Winston, probably not worth it anymore. Daniel Jones, still worth it. 209.5 passing yards. I'm taking the over. The view of how good he is drastically off. He's better than people think because they just think he's awful. DJ Moore over 54.5 receiving yards.
I like that.
I think it moved already by 8 points. Brady over 272.5 passing yards. It moved by 4. Still fine. Renfro and Adams, both minus 108. Renfro over 4.5 receptions. Adams over 7.5 receptions. I love both these. I had them last night at Caesars.
Thrive, by the way, had it 6.5 for Adams. I know Thrive's a different platform, right? It's not.
Yeah.
You're doing parlays. You're doing parlays of props, basically.
Yeah, prop parlays.
Yeah. It was 6.5 the last I saw, and I thought that was a really, really strong over on Adams. I don't know if he's going to get his 17 targets again, but he's going to have plenty. He's going to be one of the top target guys in the league, and of course, that matchup against Arizona is worth salivating over for sure. I saw you had Pittman, by the way, and of course, I'm sure you saw this note, but It seems like he's legitimately questionable. I believe he missed practice
Yeah.
again.
What happens if he doesn't play?
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just thrown out. Yeah. I'm just saying. I know you get refunded. Just keep an eye on it. That's all. I don't know if you said Pittman yet or not, if you're about to say him, but
yeah, Pittman was the next guy. 61.5 receiving yards, clear number one option for Matt Ryan. Good, talented wide receiver. It's a foot problem, so that could hamper him a little bit. But more than likely, they're not going to play him unless he's close enough to full strength. 61.5 yards. Going up against Jacksonville is just a solid overall line. I hit it. Cooper Rush, over 215.5 passing yards, minus 104 at Caesars. Cooper Rush still has some weapons. I mean, Pollard's a good receiver. Zeke can get it done on the passing game a little bit. He has Schultz. He has CeeDee Lamb. Noah Brown is not looking too bad. Cooper Rush, the one start he had last year at 304 yards. You don't like this, do you?
I just think it's funny that you're selling me on the weapons for the Cowboys, and like the first two weapons you mentioned are his receiving running backs. He's got Lamb, and then Gallup's obviously not playing. We know Cooper's gone. Noah Brown, Dennis Houston.
I mean, still has CeeDee Lamb and Schultz, and
yeah.
The main thing, it's 215.5.
It's a low number.
It's so low. Like the public reaction to things is just incredible, especially after week one. Like Dallas is garbage. Dallas went up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a pretty solid team.
We think so, yeah.
I mean, we have a big enough sample size where we can more than likely say that they are a very good defense. Is that accurate to say?
They should be, but like the Dallas line, obviously they lost Tyron Smith, one of the best offensive linemen in football. He's out for a while, and I think they lost another lineman. I think they lost another lineman on Sunday night. It could be a problem. I don't know how good the Bengals defense is going to be honest. Like I don't have a good read on that. I don't think they're expected to be spectacular. I'm not the guy for that, but I yield to other people as far as how great a defense is or is not. But yeah, I would imagine they want to run the ball theoretically, but they're probably going to be down, right? That's the thought process at least.
Yeah, so they're going to end up passing the ball late in the game. 9 point spread. I think last time I checked,
it's 7. Is it not? You see, I thought I saw 7.
What was 9? What was I thinking of then? You might be right. I think the Seahawks were 9-point dogs. Yeah,
your Seattle Seahawks.
They're actually 7.5. Yeah, I wish they would lose more games. Michael Carter under 2.5 receptions. You know how many he had last week?
I know him and Brees basically split the backfield. I'm going to guess it's 0, the way you're framing it.
No, he had 7.
Oh, okay.
7 on 9 targets. Do you know how many times Flacco threw?
How many times Flacco? Total passes he threw? 20. I don't remember the Jet game last week.
He had 59.
Okay. Wait. What happened in the Jet game last week? Why am I drawing a complete blank of this game?
They got crushed and they just kept passing.
That's okay. Yeah. I watched the Red Zone, and I don't remember them being on Red Zone a lot. And I thought
it was pretty much. It was you never watching the game. You were shown the touchdowns. But I mean, this one is going up against the Browns. Likely to be a lot of running in this game here. 6.5 point spread. So while the Browns should end up winning, it's still going to be closer than it probably should be. It's under a 7-point spread here. Browns, we know that they're going to eat the clock going up against the Jets defense that was the worst in the league going up against the rush. They've definitely improved over the offseason, added a few pieces here. But the main thing is Michael Carter and Hall are going to split the backfield. Carter only hit the over on this 4 times last season, one of which he actually had 14 targets, similar to what he had this year. And it was just a game where it got out of hand and they just kept dumping the ball off to him. Not expecting that to happen again. Hit the under on this number in 10 of 14 games last season, 11 of 15, something like that. So getting plus 130 odds just because people are overreacting to week 1, and now he has Breece Hall in there to be the other guy. I don't think he's getting over 2.5 receptions. Plus 130 odds is just fantastic.
Jets are down 10, 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Who's the running back? Is it Hall or is it Carter? We don't know.
Is it just whoever's in there at the time? Probably just whoever's rotation it is.
Okay.
Amari Cooper under 3.5 receptions, plus 133 over at Caesars.
I mean, I think that kind of correlates with the same thought process. They're just gonna hammer the ball. Like the Browns have their druthers. they're going to have 25 carries for Chubb and like Hunt getting his 17 touches, whatever it is. And they have the ball for 38 minutes and they have those long drives and just, step on the throat of the Jets. And Brissett he's the quarterback manager, right? Like that's the, it's a weird, it's a nice way of saying they don't want him. They don't want to trust the game in his hands necessarily. And I don't get the whole Cooper thing. Never was a Cooper guy. I always thought Cooper was overrated. I thought that was overpaid for him, but that's a whole other conversation. Giving up their ones, but I like that. Well, the key to that bet is the plus 140, right? Is that what the number was?
Plus 133, yeah. It's a 50-50 prospect in my mind. So again, plus 133. Just you're getting that because of Amari Cooper name recognition. That's it. Marcus Mariota under 7.5 rushing attempts, minus 115 over Bet 365. Most other places have positive juice on the under and have it at 6.5. I went with 7.5 number here. Marcus Mariota, do you know how many rushes he had in week 1?
I don't offhand. I'm going to say 4. I don't know.
12. So
okay,
that's why this number's so high. Do you know last time when he was actually starting back in 2019? Do you know what the most rushing attempts that he had in a game?
Well, that's different, coaches. That was in Tennessee, right?
Yes, it's different. Yes, but do you know what the maximum he had?
I don't know, but I'm going to say it's less than 7. But I would also say, like, if I am the coordinator for Mariota, I'm sort of not qualified for that. But I would, his best asset is his legs, right? So I would put him on the move. But I'm going to guess the answer to your question is 5.
6. You're close. He only had one game of 6. But yeah. So, tough matchup versus the Rams. I just think the number is too high. It was a weird game last week going up against the Saints. So I'm rolling with the under. Geno Smith over 12.5 rushing yards, plus 105. He only had 4 starts last year, only hit one of those, I think. But this number just seems too low to be at plus odds. And then Cordero Patterson. How many rushing attempts do you think he had last week?
He had a bunch. I think he had over 20. They were ahead a good portion of that game. He cracked 100, I want to say. He went for 20 for 105. For some reason, he just gets no respect in the fantasy world. I guess first impressions stuck with people because he was a bust 4 years ago, whatever it was.
He was also a wide receiver.
Yeah. And we can't get that out of our brains or something. But yeah, your question, how many attempts? I think he had 20 or 21 attempts last week.
22, close. And 120 yards. 49.5 getting positive juice, plus 105 on the over. Great with me.
Well, the thought, I guess, is that they're going to be down and chasing and yada yada. But assuming the game's reasonably close, they're going to want to, they're going to want to give the ball to Patterson. Otherwise, they're running with Mariota or throwing to. They're still not throwing the Pitts. That's not happening. Man. Yeah.
So you're ready to look at some parlay IQs?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this tool. I've not used it yet. I'm aware that people are super excited about it. Show me the functionality. How do I make this work? What do I do with this?
So I'll just do it. So
is this a free tool or we got to pay for this? Do you know?
I think it's free right now. Running a little bit slow, but not that bad. So it's really simple. We run 5,000 simulations. And
that's
so
enough. Is that Cardi would appreciate that?
I think he would appreciate that. And it just goes the percentage chance of it hitting in those situations. So we have the Dolphins versus Baltimore games. In 5,000 simulations, Tyreek Hill had over 68.5 receiving yards in 65% of the games, which correlates to 11% ROI. You can hit that if you want. I'm just I'm throwing this in there. Perfect correlation in all the games in the 3,222 games where this hit. 68% of the time, Tua had over 254.5 passing yards. So adding that in there. Edmonds in the game where those two hit, 61% of the time, he had under 42.5 rushing yards. So throwing that in there. And then of that, in the 1,330 games where those three things happened, 59% of the time, Lamar Jackson had over 54.5 rushing yards. So throw that in there. So I've just created a little parlay using the tool. going to see what it currently is at for.
And you correlated the Miami offense where you had over on Tua, over on Hill, and under on Edmonds running the ball because the script as far as this parlay is Miami is chasing, if I'm understanding this correctly.
Yeah, pretty much. If we want to add one more in, we can add the total in here. So based on this, sportsbooks should offer us 1150 right here. That's what it says down here. This has an 8% chance of hitting, which means rough odds should be 1150. So we check. I have Fanduel pulled up right here. Odds are 1375. Over on Caesars, it's plus 1200. So not as good. Over on DraftKings, they give me trash odds. So
do I have to plug all these in, all these different sites, or like it automatically carries over somehow, or you use pre-show, or?
I think we're working on being able to transport them in. You can transfer them into there. This is still in beta. I believe it's still free. But yeah, so that's just one. Offers a small amount of ROI. I prefer not having the total on here. 566 in this scenario. If we don't have the total on here, then the odds go to plus 809 over at FanDuel, plus 800 over at Caesars. But that's just the first one. Let's look at another game here. Let's see.
Did you find a juicy one by chance, or you're kind of figuring out on the fly?
Kind of figuring it out on the fly.
Yeah.
So let's go with Cleveland money line. Actually, no, that's about right. It's not showing a huge ROI. Let's go with Kareem Hunt receiving yards. Just start off with the big one here. Kareem Hunt or a Cleveland money line. It's correlated to receiving yards, but again, that's about what the odds are at minus 290. And it's most likely going to be correlated on site. So I'm staying away from that. I'll go with Hall rushing yards, Peoples-Jones receiving yards, Nick Chubb rushing yards. So we're going a full-on onslaught brought back with Breece Hall. So let's go over there. We have Kareem Hunt receiving yards that we're going to throw in there. We're going to see what this is. I probably should just be doing it on another page. I'll bring it back over in a second. But going into this, we add every single thing from this. So the projected odds right here, 17% chance of hitting, plus 488 for the odds here. So Kareem Hunt taking over receiving yards. Peoples-Jones taking the over receiving yards, rushing yard over on Breece Hall, and over on Nick Chubb. What do you think the odds are that the sportsbook's giving us on that?
Is it four combinations? Yeah, I'm here. I was trying to keep up. Is that four different combinations? Four different things?
Yep, 4 different ones with projected 17% chance of hitting according to Parlay IQ. And so, yeah.
I think we're going to get, hopefully we're getting around 5-1, right?
13 plus 1397. I'm going to check.
Did I do that wrong? Was my math incorrect?
No, I mean, that's probably what, it's probably what you feel like it should be. But yeah, it's just that they're not always right is basically what it is.
So are we going to bet this? Are we going to bet this live here, Grant, or what?
Yeah, I'm going to bet it. I'm just seeing what it is over on what's it called? Caesars to see if it's drastically different.
Yeah, shop around.
Plus 1,600 over at Caesars. Hitting that. Boom.
Anyway, hold on, just so I understand, you're telling me there's a 17% chance this happening according to the tool, and we're getting 16-1 on it?
Yep.
Okay.
16-1 roughly translates to what, a 7.5% hit rate. So
yeah. That seems really good. Knowing nothing else, that seems really good.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just gonna hit these. We're just gonna go through. All right. So let's try the Washington game. Guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them into chat. We'll get to them. But Washington game. So I'm just going to start off with the easiest one. Dotson over 13 or 37.5 receiving yards.
Why is that the easiest one? Is that the one that has the best odds as far as
So, like I said, there's a suggestions tab here.
Okay.
And it changes based on site. So we'll make one on Caesars. Dotson over here has a 15% EV. The EV's right here. So it shows you what our positive EV vet. So they just like Dotson. So if you want to bet Dotson based on our whatever, then go ahead, do it.
So it'll guide you as far as like the best bets to start with. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah. So in those games, 75% of the time, Thomas had over or under 3.5 receptions. So Dotson obviously has a massive negative correlation. Thomas in that one, let me check this. So this is a time where it makes sense to be looking at and entering in this onto the website. So 15% positive ROI on this, 84% chance of happening. The reason for that is obviously Thomas is getting under 3 receptions, right? Like one of the biggest correlations for a wide receiver is under receptions and under receiving yards, or over reception, over receiving yards,
Sure.
with the exception of, to a lesser extent, guys like
MVS,
Deshaun Jackson, guys that just go for massive big plays are not reliant at all on volume. Like all you need is really one catch.
Yeah.
So if I go with these two together, it's not even showing me odds. I think I need to add one more. So let's see if I add the under on receiving yards with Logan Thomas. It's just not giving me odds. So I can't combine Thomas and
I feel like that's they probably won't let you combine the same player, 2 different props, because there's clear correlation. Is that probably what's going on there?
Yeah, pretty much. So they'll let me combine these two. Plus 112. Currently over at Caesars, it's plus 260. Let's add another one here. Again, Logan Thomas receptions, not going to work. Under on Josh Reynolds receptions. All right, this will be fun here. Let's see. Let's assume they're focusing in on what's his name? On Dotson. So let's add this one to it if they even let me.
Well, Reynolds is on the Lions.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So many new faces in new places. For some reason, they won't. They only let you go with. They're not letting you go with that. So,
what is the number of Reynolds catches? Like 2.5 or something?
2.5.
Okay.
So 2.5. Let's see if I can do that with under this, and then over on there. There's some issues on Caesars. Yeah, they won't let us throw Reynolds on there. All right, so Caesars is being weird. Wentz under 11.5 rushing yards. Why not? There we go. Now we got something that correlates. So we got Wentz, Thomas, and they won't let us line value out of range. All right, so that means Caesars is having some problems. So we're just going to skip to the next game.
Can we go to a different book or no?
Yeah, we'll go to a different book here. So we'll try Fanduel. Bring it over to Fanduel here. So number 1 overall play, Dotson. So with that, over receiving yards, or over passing yards for Wentz. If Dotson goes over receiving, means decent chance that Wentz is going over passing. We have a projected hit at 42% clip. Over on Fanduel, plus 188. Boom. If Wentz is hitting that, we're hitting McLaurin. So lots of overs. Plus 284, where this one only went up to plus 349. If we add one more if we add the total in here and see where that's at, plus 525, plus 570 over at Fanduel. So you see the differences that happen when you start adding different ones. Like the total goes from, if you add the total, it goes from 349 to 570, and it's just not good enough. If we add McLaurin here, it does not do enough. So let's find something a little bit better here. We're at plus 188 before McLaurin and the total is added, which if you want to do that, just pair Dotson with Carson Wentz overs. It seems to be pretty solid. Plus 138 over is our suggested, and you're getting plus 188. So if we do that, and then we'll add Goff over on receiving yards. Let's try that. See if that's
pair him with Amon-Ra. If you're going to do Goff over, pair him with Amon-Ra.
So I would normally say that it's 12%. Would you rather do Amon-Ra or Hawkinson?
What does the machine tell me to do? Because
slight edge to Hawkinson, 13% compared to 12%.
Yeah, but I mean, I want him on Raw 12% as opposed to Hawkinson versus. But I understand, like the math is saying, take.
Yeah, it's saying very slightly.
Yeah.
So
personally, I would think I'm on Raw.
Looking at this, we only get plus 703 compared over on Fanduel. I'll bring it over here. Plus 703 compared to over at the parlay similar, we're getting plus 614. So I don't normally do this small of same game parlays, but I kind of like this. So Wentz and Dotson together plus 138. If we just, that's projected amount of times hit. Over on FanDuel, we're getting plus 188. So I'm going to hit that. Boom.
What's your is your FanDuel balance being shown off? I think it was on there for a second. Have you recently deposited?
1,800. FanDuel limits me far too much that I can't do anything. So hence why I'm trying to do some same game parlays, because not only will I probably win money based on this, but I also then get a higher limit for FanDuel, which they let me put 500 down on Herbert. I could not believe it, on Herbert passing yards. They have not let me put over like 200 on a bet in years.
What a hero Herbert was last night, man. I mean, if you bet on the Chargers, if you had him in DFS, I mean, it looked like his ribs. You could tell he was just an incredible.
I can almost guarantee he has a broken rib.
Well, I saw something today that apparently some test was negative. But like that, look, as an internet amateur doctor, I thought it was ribs too. I'm like, that seemed like the logical whatever. And he got hit like twice there, and man, what a hero! And he just garbage time touchdown. It didn't matter at all. But he beat the spread, changed DFS, of course. Yeah. You had 500 on the over, and what was his yards total?
279.5. When he injured his ribs, he was at roughly 260, 261.
Awesome.
So I'm like, it was funny. I was in a chat to Smartwater, in a chat with him. It's like, broken rib. He's likely done. I'm like, no, I think he can come back in. No way. They could puncture a lung. Like, well, he would have trouble breathing, and they figured that out almost immediately. I mean, I'm no doctor. I don't know that much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think that he's going to come back in. And then when they scored, it kind of changed things. I'm like, all right, I don't think they'll bring him back in. There's no point. There's no way they're winning this. Why would they bring him back in? And dude just crushed it. Yeah, guys, hit the like button. Did Spidey Bombs hit yesterday? Hit the like button.
That's a baseball thing. You're not a part of our Grinders Live baseball shows. That's TJ.
I sometimes watch. But showing you a spot where it's like we have heavily correlated stuff. Jonathan Taylor touchdown, Jonathan Taylor rushing yards, Indianapolis money line, all heavily correlated. So we should get plus 194 for this to be just a break-even bet. So we want better than that.
Where would I find this tool, by the way, Grant? You're on Scores and Odds. Where do I go from there?
I'm just going to throw the link into chat.
Yeah, in case people are out there watching, they see what you're doing, they want to play with it as well. So how would they get access to it?
So just go to scoresandodds.com, go to NFL, go to Parlay IQ. Boom. That's it. And then click on whatever game you want.
Right there. Okay, that's simple. Okay. NFL Parlay IQ. Easy enough.
Yeah, we're going to try this with a different one since I already bet the Pittman over. Let's see.
Can you bet any of the Colts right now in anticipation of the potential chance of Pittman sitting, or is that off the board? And I don't know what the chances of him sitting or not sitting are, but obviously a guy like, I don't know. That's the thing, is like we get excited about Paris Campbell all of a sudden. Like how is this going to change things? Maybe Hines gets a few more catches. I don't know. Where does all that Pittman usage even go? It gets delegated. Maybe Mo Alley Cox gets an extra catch or so.
Pretty much every receiver outside. I mean, Hines probably gets an increase. He'll probably be running there a little bit more. Paris Campbell, pretty much everyone. Mo Alley Cox, everyone. So I don't like this game. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we're getting a good one here. Saquon Barkley receiving yards, 73%. Boom. Hitting it. Best correlation for that.
Last week, I believe.
Yeah, best correlation with that. CMC. Why did it? Oh, I'm like, why did I think they played each other? Because last week it was Derrick Henry, so just another one. Touchdown. So this is a spot where we put the FanDuel thing up on the board. So this is where we see while there's a massive, massive correlation, we'll see how much FanDuel actually gives us correlation. So we have Saquon and CMC. Plus 259 is what we're getting. Right now it has a 50% chance of hit. So I'm actually going to just hit this right now.
What are those two bets? You're betting over on both?
Over on receiving yards for both. Boom.
Okay.
Hit it. So I'm going to put this in again. Barkley, CMC. And then the heaviest correlation is actually CMC touchdown. So we're going to add that minus 135. So now it should be plus 194. So if we go to that, see if we add that in there, anytime touchdown score, CMC, it roughly doubles. So I think that's still fine. I don't know if it's huge extra EV, but you're still getting, this has plus 194 of happening, and we're getting plus 474. So after that, we're going to the total over. So it drops it to plus 354. Let's see what happens when we add the total on there. Still very solid. I'm going to hit that one. I like this one a lot. Plus 354. So roughly a 70% projected ROI. Now, granted, there's variance there. We're not always looking for exact math, but just drastic outliers. So like I said, this is plus 473. We are getting it at plus 354 is the line where it actually ends up being a break even. So we're getting a massive projected ROI. Granted, I'm expecting it to be more towards the mean, but still, if we can get a 10% ROI, 15% ROI.
I was going to say, like, realistically, what are you aiming for? Ideally, realistically, what's the ROI that makes you say, okay, I'm going to bet this?
On these, I want a 50% projected ROI at least, knowing that'll probably be closer to 10% because there's lots.
It's not really going to be 50, but yeah.
Yeah. Projections can be very misleading. So I'm checking it on Caesars to see what they're going to give me. Player scored touchdown CMC.
By the way, you were saying before you don't love the 2-game parlay necessarily, and what is the sweet spot for you? Like 2 games? I know Andre likes.
I don't same game parlay almost at all. Like
so is there a sweet spot? Like ideally, you like 3, you like 4, or it's just sort of like a game dependent, I suppose, correlation dependent.
I mean, I'm just doing what correlates well here. We're going to do one more and then get on out of here. We've been here for a while. Do you want to do Atlanta or Seattle, San Francisco? It doesn't look like there's a ton of positive EV. You want to look for positive EV bets.
Okay, obviously.
So not a ton on this one. Let's go Cincinnati, Dallas. This could be fun.
I feel like Arizona and the Raiders will have some positive stuff, but obviously the numbers are going to adjust. But that one, at least we're expecting some fireworks.
I like that because so Kyler Murray over rushing yards. They love that. So I'm going to hit that. And let's see. Not a ton that correlates well with that. So I'm going to take that one back off, and I'm going to go with Hunter Renfrow over receiving yards.
Okay.
That actually correlates perfectly to Kyler Murray over rushing yards, Derek Carr over passing yards.
Are you using your brain on that, or is there something that shows those two correlate? Because I agree they do. Is there something?
It's literally on the screen.
Okay.
Like this number right here is a 5% ROI, and this number is 70% correlation. So of the 857 games where all 4 of these hit, 70 of those games, Las Vegas won.
Yeah, I didn't have the screen all the way blown up, so I can't read. I got to really squint and see. I thought that's what you're looking at, but okay. Yeah. Now I see it better. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll add Las Vegas. So there's a 5-pick parlay, same game parlay. Offers plus 733. That's pretty solid. Let's go ahead and throw it into FanDuel and see what they give us and see if they give us huge odds because they might. All right, so we're going to same game parlay, adding in Renfrow and Adams over receiving yards, which correlates perfectly to Derek Carr over passing yards, which correlates well with Kyler Murray over receiving yards, which likely means that Las Vegas is going to win. So this is a good spot here. We have roughly 100% projected ROI. And over in Parlay IQ, we have it at a break-even point of 733. I'm just going to check with it at Caesars, real quick, see if it works out well there. If I get better odds there, but I am hitting this one for $100 because I like to party.
Let's do it.
So just going over there, we have Las Vegas Raiders to win. We have Derek Carr over passing yards. We have Kyler Murray over rushing yards. We have both Renfro and Adams over passing yards. Is that it? Is that all five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we're only getting plus 1,300 on this one with some slightly worse odds on a few guys. So I'm going with FanDuel. Boom. We have it there. We made our bets. Let's see. I'll pull them up here in case you guys want to see. We have Wentz and Dotson, both Wentz over passing yards, Dotson over receiving yards, plus 188. We have Barkley and McCaffrey both over receiving yards, plus 259. We have Barkley over receiving yards, McCaffrey over receiving yards, McCaffrey anytime touchdown score, and over 43.5 match points, which is just the total, plus 734. And lastly, we have Renfro over receiving yards, Adams over receiving yards, Carr over passing yards, Murray over rushing yards, and the Raiders to win, plus 1,500. So you got one at each individual spot there. Go bet him. Daniel, anything before we get on out of here?
What was the bet you had for Stroman?
Over 15.5 outs. Is he playing right now?
Yeah, he's cruising so far through 2. 25 pitches, no hits. They're up 1-0. So good start for you as far as Stroman. You need him to get into the 6th inning? Is that what
we're just into the 6th? So I mean, the fact that he's at 25 pitches through 2.
Yeah.
Based on 100 pitches, he's on pace for 8 innings. But
yeah, I'll take the under on 8, but I think you're well positioned over 5. We'll see. There's your mush for you. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, classic you. All right, guys. Well, go make some money. Genial. Good luck on football this weekend. Yeah, we're out of here. See you, kids.